Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining today's session. I did a mic check earlier, so I am almost sure everyone is able to hear me. We want to begin at exactly 12 p.m. today. It's 12 p.m., so we'll begin. The session should not extend over an hour, given that we're only concentrating on one aspect of Moodle today, and that is the gradebook. For sessions to come, so we have three additional sessions. Next week, we will look at exam and quiz creation in Moodle. The next week, we want to focus on issues surrounding quiz creation, so technical issues, how you as a lecturer can solve certain issues. You'll also have the opportunity to ask any questions you would have had concerning quiz and exam creation. The final week, the last session will be done by Mrs. Kamala Anderson, and that is the advanced mode training. All right, so that is basically taking the different tools, activities, and resources and using them to actually teach. All right. Um, for today, well, before I get into that, I realized that persons have been using the online modules for completing the different learning activities covered in the training sessions. And that is very good because if you don't use it, you'll lose it. You need to practice in order to just apply the knowledge based on what you have garnered from the sessions, just to ensure that you're actually learning. All right. And even if it is that you are not using the online modules to practice what you have learned in the training session, which is essentially what we want because you want to be able to see that you're actually applying and you're able to successfully apply what you have taken from the training. Even if not, though, it's good if you are playing around in your own modules or using your own live modules to demonstrate your understanding of what you have learned. Very important. All right. Um, for the record, again, if you are not enrolled to the online training modules, you can indicate that to us by sending us an email, and we will definitely have you added so that you can do your practice and you can get your badges and certificates. Okay. All right. So as usual, with all training sessions, we want to give persons the opportunity, want to interact. If you need to use the chat, bottom right of your screen, there is the collaborate panel. It's purple. Once you click on the purple ribbon, it pops out, and the first icon is a chat bubble. You click on that if you need to leave a question, if you have a concern, if you prefer to take the mic, that is good as well. Bottom center of your screen, there are four icons. The last icon along that string is the raise hand icon. If you wish to use the mic, you just click on that to be acknowledged, wait to be acknowledged, and then you can activate your mic, which is the second icon in that series of icons if you need to speak. Okay, now in today's training session, we want to look at configuring your gradebook in Moodle. Now, the gradebook is a feature in Moodle that houses and aggregates grades and feedback from activities within your Moodle course and also face-to-face or offline activities. This can be assignments, wikis, forums, and other activities. Now, students are only allowed to view their own grades as the system generates individualized reports. However, as a lecturer, you are able to view all of your students' grades. The grades can be manually entered by you as a lecturer or automatically entered by the system. So a good example of this is quizzes. Let's say you have given your students a multiple choice or true or false or short answer quiz. Because the system is already set up where it has the answers, the system is able to release and will calculate and release the grades within the grade book. All right, so that doesn't require, sorry, your input, your manual input. If it is a case where it is an essay type question, for example, of course the system can't mark essay type question. So in that case, you are required to go in and to mark the essay type question, leave the grade and leave your feedback, which would also be reflected in the grade book. All right. Now, grades can also be imported from other compatible systems, or you can export the student's grade to your computer if you prefer to manage it using another software such as Excel. Moodle actually maintains as well a history of changes made to the gradebook, which allows lecturers to be able to audit who made changes and when. So what I'm saying here is that let's say you're on a course, you're a co-lecturer, probably two or more if you are on the same course, and you want to see graders history. There's a section which I'll show you short that allows you to select the teacher who would have made a change to a student's grade. You can select the student or the entire um, classroom of students, and then it basically generates a report. And you can also select timelines in terms of dates for whatever changes you want to see. The system will show the original grade and also the grade change that was made by that particular lecturer. As a lecturer, you get to decide when and how students are able to view the gradebook. If you don't want students to view their gradebook, you can disable that, and I'll show you how to do that as well. Not sure why you wouldn't want them to see their gradebook, but I'm sure at least one lecturer might be able to tell me something as it relates to that. The gradebook setup can be very tricky. One bad selection can really destroy your gradebook, right? So less is more with the gradebook. What we are unsure of in terms of options, we don't select it or play with it. Because sometimes we might lock certain features or hide certain features, and then that impacts the entire gradebook. So we have to be very careful with that, right? So we're going to begin now with me screen sharing. I'm going to stop sharing the flyer. Good. And you should be seeing my screen in 2 seconds. Okay. All right. So I've intentionally used an empty course because I want to show us from scratch how we can set up the gradebook. Now, when you are creating your course in LMS Dev, I don't know if you have seen, I don't know if you have seen a feature that in the edit settings, when you're creating the shell, there's a feature that allows you to select if you want students to be able to view their gradebook or no. So if you haven't come across it, I'm going to show you. Top right, we're going to click on edit settings. And remember, this is the form that you fill out when you're creating your course for the very first time. If you scroll to the bottom, I think it's under appearance, right? It's the third option under appearance. It says show gradebook to students. So by default, the option is no. So if you don't enable this option, students will not be able to see their gradebooks, all right? However, if you have the option disabled, if the course is migrated to the live site, which is UTech Online, you can always come in and enable it. So this is an option that can be disabled and enabled based on preference at any point in time. All right, so this is set to yes. I'm going to just scroll down and cancel. Okay, how do you access the gradebook in Moodle? Pretty simple, no holy for clicking. To the left, we have what we call the administration block, and the option grades is there. So it's the fifth link from the top. You click on that, okay, and what it shows an overall view of the students in the course, the grade, the assessments in the course, categories, and the list goes on. I'm going to show you okay, so this is a better example of what a completed gradebook looks like, or almost complete. So to the left, we have the student's first and the last name. We have a column. The next column is email address column, which is slightly hidden based on the view shown here, right? At the top of the name of the course, which is Psychology in Cinema, all right? Below the name of the course, we have course category. Under the course category, we have a grade item. So I'm going to be explaining what those are shortly. So right across under analysis, we have the category, we have the grade item, from concept to reality, which looks to be an assignment. We have a course discussion. This is a forum, and then it shows the category total, all right, based on the analysis grade category. And we have other categories being shown here. Now, a grade category basically allows you to filter your grade items or activities just for easy view. So it's just like what you would see in your syllabus. So look at this. Okay, just jumped off. It's saying there's nothing to show here. Let me just see if I can retrieve. All right, this is it. So this is what we refer to as grade category. So that section in your syllabus that shows the different assessments that students will take, this is what it looks like. So under forums or discussions, you'd have discussion forums. Under the students' papers, we have research papers, reports, and we have exams. So what we would do is basically create these as categories in the gradebook. So you can put the individual assessments, what we call grade items, under these categories. So I just told you the grade items are the different activities that are graded, and they're classified under the grade categories. Okay, so as shown here, back in our first screenshot, these are the categories and these are the grade items. Okay, all right. Now, what we want to look at is how we can set up the gradebook. All right, so if we want things to be displayed a certain way, we have to configure the gradebook. Now, what we are in now is just a grader report. To configure the gradebook, we would click on Setup, and that takes us into the gradebook setup area. Now, the first thing that we want to do is to add the categories. So we want to add the categories that are found in our syllabus, and from the image shown here, you would see that all of these categories add up to 100%. 20, 25, 15, and 40, they total 100%. So that is what we want to achieve. Okay, now to add the grade category, at the bottom we have two options. We're going to click on Add Category, and I am going to call this category Forum Discussions. All right, and we're going to set the aggregation to be simple weighted mean of grades, and you'll see why shortly. So there are quite a number of options. However, for the calculation to be done properly, for the category name, it has to be set to simple weighted mean of grades. And we are not going to change anything else. If you want to change the maximum grade from 100, not sure why, but you can. All right, but I'm thinking the maximum grade for the forum discussions would be 100. Remember that you get to set the points for each discussion under the forum discussion. So it maintain the maximum grade of 100 here. So we don't want to change anything else. We're going to scroll down, click on Save Changes. Let us add two more categories, grade categories. So add category, we're going to call this one exams, same aggregation of simple weighted mean of grades. Scroll down and save changes. All right, and then we're going to add one more category. We're going to call this one research papers. All right, so sometimes my keys work well. Right. And aggregation, simple weighted mean of grades. We scroll down and we save changes. Okay, so from the gradebook here, we can see that we have three different categories. Okay, and they are 33.333 each because it's trying to sum up to 100. All right, so remember in this example here, we have them added to 100. Now, I'm going to change these values. All right, I'm going to change the values, but I'll do them shortly. Okay, now before we change the values, we want to ensure that the aggregation for the course is set up properly as well. Okay, the course name is still here, Moodle Trading Course, and we have the categories under them. So it's properly set up for us to see a clear design of what is the course name and what are the different course categories. We're going to change the aggregation of the course to weighted mean of grades. All right, so we're going to click on edit settings, and you will see the configuration of the gradebook after we have done so. All right, so let me just ensure that I clicked on the correct thing. So it's edit for the course, good, edit settings, and we are going to change this to simple weighted mean, sorry, weighted mean of grades, not simple, weighted mean of grades. All right, so we're not entering anything else here. We're just gonna click on save changes, and we have that. Okay, so remember, when we're doing the grade categories, the selection is simple weighted mean of grades. When we're doing the course aggregation, it is weighted mean of grades. So what this does, it provides a field that allows us to weigh each category. All right, so now we can change the different category weights. So for forum discussions, I'm going to put this to 30, so that would be 30%. All right, for exams, we could put this at 40%. And for research papers, we're going to set this to 30. Good. So we have 30 plus 40 plus 30. This amounts to 100%. So we're going to scroll down, hit the box or the button that says save changes, and we have those as you want them to appear. Okay. Now, what we want to look at is how we can add the grade items. Remember, the grade items are simply the activities. Now, I'm not sure if you know, I mentioned it earlier, you can use your gradebook to house activities that you don't give to the students on Moodle. So let's say you allow them to take part in a face-to-face activity in the classroom. The grades can be housed here. Okay, remember grade items are simply activities. Now we're going to do two things. We're going to add the grade items in two ways. All right, I think we have, is it a hand? No. All right, Miss Noble, can you take the mic?
Hi, Michaela. Quick question. In reviewing the gradebook that I had on the system, I realized that a previous lecturer had their mid-session exam, but when I added mine, it also showed up in the gradebook. So, in just following what you're doing side by side on the split screen, I realized that I'm seeing my mid-semester, my group assignment, but I'm also seeing the previous mid-session exam. What do you do in
Mm,
a situation like that? Do you delete the original one even though it's hidden or what?
mhm. All right, so what you can do is to hide it. How do you hide it? You have to hide the actual activity on the course page. Once it is hidden, it won't be shown in the gradebook to either the student or the lecturer.
Awesome. Okay, I'm
All
seeing that
right,
it's
and
hidden, but
as
you could actually still make the change when you're talking. So I just wanted to make sure. So if it's hidden, then it's fine. It will not to show
right,
for this set of students.
that's correct. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and that will be demonstrated shortly. I think it was probably 3 training sessions ago or 4 training sessions ago. Somebody had asked, let's say you give the student a lesson, but you don't want the grade to be shown in the grade book. How can that be facilitated? So we'll look at that shortly. But that's a good question. All right, so we're gonna move. Okay, Dr. Telfa, go ahead. Dr. Telfa. Hello. I'm seeing your mic, Dr. Telfa, but I'm not seeing the audio mute moving.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I was just following up on the question that was just asked. In a
Mhm.
case like that, if the old assignment is still in the lineup of graded activities, wouldn't it throw off the, even if hidden, wouldn't it throw off the final grade?
No, because
No?
if it is hidden, there won't be any calculation or aggregation for it in the grade book. If it is
Okay.
hidden, it won't reflect or show at all in the grade book. So it won't be computed as part of the grade.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. So what we want to move on to now is to show you how you can manually add the grade item in the grade book and how you can set up the activity on the course page, but link it back to the grade category for it to be shown in the gradebook. Let us first look at adding the grade item. Okay, so we're going to click on add grade item, and I am going to call this face-to-face discussion. So clearly this is something done in the physical classroom, so it's really an offline activity, yes? So face-to-face discussion, and when we scroll down, we can change the maximum grade here. So let's say the points for this face-to-face discussion is 50. All right, we enter 50 points there, and we also want to change the grade category. We're changing the grade category because we're putting it in its correct folder. Okay, so face-to-face discussion we'd want to put on the forum discussion. So we're going to click on save changes, and now we can see that the face-to-face discussion with 50 points is under the forum discussions folder. Let's add another grade item, but we're going to put it on the exam this time, right? The add grade item, let us call this in classroom test or quiz, all right? Scroll down, you can set this to probably 40 points, all right? And remember, this is not for the grade category, this is for the respective grade item or activity. Scroll down, change the grade category to exams. All right, and then we click on save changes. Now, what if I created a grade item, but I did not select a grade category? What is going to happen? Let us test it and see. All right, so we can see that the in-classroom test went under the exam. So, but we're going to create another grade item. We're going to call this draft paper. Right, scroll down, and I'm just going to click on save changes without selecting. So it's automatically going to come under the course, but no grade category as it relates to the folders were selected. So if I click on save changes, it just lingers at the bottom. All right, so it's not under research paper. You know it's under research paper if it is indented. It's nowhere. What I can do, I can either click on this and it allows me to move it up, or I can click on the select radio button for the activity, move selected items to, click on the drop down and select the category I want to place it in. All right, so we have 3 grade categories with their respective grade items underneath. Okay, now what if the activity is already in the course? How do I actually get it in the gradebook? Let us look at that. I'm going to go back to the main course page. Okay, turn everything on, and I'm going to add an assignment. Okay, so let's call this assignment 1. We're not going to enter description or anything, we're just doing this for demo purposes. We're going to scroll down to grade. Okay, so under grade, this is an option that we normally jump over in most trainings because we don't have the gradebook configured to facilitate demonstration of this. So normally grade category is just uncategorized if there are no folders or grade categories selected. Now we can see the grade categories because we already configured the gradebook to show them. Okay, so I am going to put this assignment under, just gonna put it under research papers. Okay, you can enter grade to pass. This is not necessary. The grade to pass, why it is important for some lecturers to enter this is that, let's say the grade to pass is 60 and the student gets 55, 59, anything below 60. The system would tell the student that they have failed because they did not get the grade to pass or more. All right, so that's an indication for the system to tell them instead of you having to, tell them out of your own mouth that they failed the activity. All right, so we're gonna scroll down. We just remove that, scroll down, and click on save and return. Okay, Let's add another activity. Let's add a forum. Good. Gonna call this forum 1. And remember, we don't advise naming forums forum 1, forum 2, or any other activity, but for that matter, we want to ensure that the naming convention used specifies what that actual activity is about. And Mrs. Anderson will touch more on that in the advanced training that we have in 3 weeks' time. Okay, so all the way down to whole forum grading. If I just save this activity, I'm just going to save it without selecting any gradient settings. I'm just going to save it, and I'm going to go to the gradebook and show you that it will not show up. All right, so I'm just going to click on grades, go to the setup, and as you can see, the forum is not showing. The assignment is showing, but the forum is not showing because nothing was selected for it. So it's not shown in the gradebook. All right, so I'm going to go back to the course page, edit the settings for the forum. There's a section that says whole forum grading. This has to be activated. Grade type is none. I'm going to click on grade type to this point. See, I can enter the maximum grade. So let's say 60 points max for this particular activity. All right. I can enter the grading method if I want to use a marking guide or if I want to upload a rubric. Those options are there, but I'm going to stick to simple direct grading, which allows me to enter the grade and the feedback, in the system. And then I'm going to enter my grade category. All right, so we're going to put this under forum discussions. So I'm going to scroll down, save and return. And now we're going to check the gradebook to see that is reflected there. Setup. And yes, it is now shown in the gradebook under the correct category. Okay. Do we have any questions before we move on? Dr. Selfa, go ahead.
For the forum discussions, right? Since one is 50 points and one is 60, when the system is calculating, right, does it gives a heavier weighting to the one that is 60 points?
When you say gives a heavier weighting, what you mean?
All right. So in terms of the distribution of the 30, because the system will have a way of distributing that 30 between the two forum discussions, right? So I'm wondering if the second forum would get more marks than the first one.
That's a good question. I've never actually zoomed in on that before. That's actually a good question. So something that I need to look into. However, go ahead.
No, I'm asking because it's one of the things I've been struggling with in academic writing too, wondering how that works, because we have some activities that we wanted, like 2 to get a higher mark of the overall thing, but I wasn't sure how the system dealt with that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wish I could answer you, but I've never zoomed in on that aspect before. What I can do, I can test it after the session with a dummy student to see how it handles that. But I really can't say yes or no. So let me just document the question. Do we have another hand raised in the meantime? You can go ahead. Think I heard another hand. Miss March, you can take the mic.
It is possible. You'd have to give each item a value. But as it is there, it is only going to it's going to assign them 50-50. So even though one is 50 and one is 60, in the end, they're going to be weighted equally, unless you give them individual weighting. And it's possible to give them individual weighting.
Right. So you're saying you have tested this and you, based on your experience with this, it would be 15 from the 30 for each grade item, Miss March?
Yes, unless you give face-to-face discussion its own mini weighting and forum its own mini weighting.
Okay, and when you say give them their own weighting, you basically mean just creating them as different grade categories then so that they can have their own weighting.
No, there are subcategories of forum, but you say what percentage of the 30 each one is.
Okay, 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 okay. All right, so that is definitely something I will check out. And thanks for that, Miss March. Does that make any sense to you, Dr. Telfo? Is that clear to you?
That's what I started doing. But I just wanted to see if, so I guess Miss March just answered my question that the system actually does not do it like that. You'd have to do the individual mini weighting. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for that, Miss March, and thanks for that question, Dr. Telfo. All right, so and what I will do as well, I will, based on my checks, I'll modify the Unit 6 of the MIT to reflect what the findings are. All right, so I'm not sure if I had brought us over to the online training module. I normally do it every week. This is the module that we're working from. Um, and we're in Unit 6. Last week we had looked at Turnitin. Remember last week our session ended prematurely because the online systems went down at the university. So I uploaded the training session to the point of us starting and ending before lights went there, before the internet went there, sorry. And then we uploaded an additional resource just to support what we would have not been able to cover up in the session. So it was week before last week, not last week, all right? So we are at feedback and grading, looking at the grade book for this week. Okay.
So Miss Peck,
Yes, Miss March, go ahead.
if you go back to your grade book
Right?
and over by where you have face-to-face discussion,
Where I have what?
if you select face-to-face discussion, if you select edit for that
Right.
and edit the setting and scroll down to the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
parent category. Also, I don't know what I did right now, but mine down under parent category.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yours is not collapsed.
No, everything is out. So let me just click on show more. That's basically all there is. No.
Right. So on the parent category, I have, as I said, I don't remember how I get it. I remember when I'm there. When I go into edit setting, on the parent category, I can put in an item weight. So I have an item weight for that category, and I can put
Oh.
in an item weight. And so for my item, I have three things on the say the 30%, I have three things under there, and I can
Mm-hmm.
put in individual weighting for them,
For each item. Mm-hmm.
for each item.
Okay,
I,
I'm not
I,
sure why it's not coming. You know, I don't even remember seeing that setting before. I'm wondering if it's because this is already created and saved. But let me just see
Can she
something
be
here.
allowed to share her screen, Miss Peck?
Yes, but just a second. So this is it. This is it she's referring to. This is it, right, Miss March?
so which one are you under?
So no man, I just created a new grade item. I think it wasn't showing because that one was already created. So I just clicked to add a new grade item and it shows here. You're with me, Miss March?
Yes, I am.
Right. So
So,
let me just redo what I did. Why I was saying it probably was not showing is because the grade item was already created and the was created and placed under a category already. So what I did was just to click add grade item and scroll down and I saw the option you were looking for, item weight.
mhm.
Right. So if I click to put it in a category,
So great,
I just
you're right.
enter the code here. So I was asking if that is what you were referring to.
As I said, I'm not sure. I'm going to research and let you know by the end of the course.
Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it to me as well. But what had happened just now, I think the issue is that we created the grade item and we placed it under a grade category. Right? So that would have prevented us from getting that option, being able to modify the grade item already created to enter a grade way. But I think that's it as well. But I will further explore it because I've never thought to the extent of, based on Dr. Telfer's question, I've never thought that far before. So I've never actually gone through it myself, but I'll explore it further and then I'll upload the findings there. All right, do we have any other questions before we move on? All right, okay. So we have the grade book, we have the categories, we have the grade items, we have the totals for each category, we have the points or the marks for each activity, and we have the weights based on the different grade categories. Okay, now what we want to look at now is what the grade book would look like in the event that a student actually submits a forum or an assignment, and they are ready to do or ready to view rather their grade book. All right, because we need to have actual grades entered just to show you what it looks like. We want to show you as well how you can download the grade book, how you can view the grader history, and anything else you might have a question on. The system automatically has the maximum grade for 100, Dr. Telfo. So you're referring to here, it's a system that has it at 100, but I think you're able to change it. Edit, calculation. Okay, it seems as though you can't change that option, but the system automatically has it as maximum grade. So what would happen during the calculation? Let's say the student gets 25 out of 50. Would be 25 out of 50 by 100. That is how the system would calculate it. And it seems as though, think when setting up, it can be changed. Yes, I think you might be correct. I think it would be from here though. Edit settings for the category. Right, so we can't, yes, we can change it still. So it's not locked. Yeah, it can still be changed. It can still be changed. Okay, so I was looking at the wrong area, but from the edit for the folder or for the category, you can in fact change it. Yeah. Okay, so as said before, now we want to look at how the system shows the gradebook for the student, because the gradebook allows you to get a user view. As the lecturer, you can get a user view for your students. Okay, and we also want to look at how you can grade the assessments for the grades to be reflected in the grade book. All right. For the quiz, we won't look at that. We'll look at that next week because, of course, as I had mentioned, the quiz would automatically input the grades for questions like drag and drop, true or false, short, and some multiple choice. All right. But for essay type questions, you have to manually grade, which we will explore next week. We want to look at the assignment and forum, how you can grade the assignment for the student, how you can grade the forum, and what it looks like in the grade book. The question that we had earlier and also some weeks ago in the session, what if there is an activity that you don't want the system to grade, but the students still receive a grade for it? How is that actually reflected in the grade book? So it does not have to be shown. You don't have to delete that particular grade item or activity. You can just hide it. All right, so I'm going to add, let's see, I don't have to add any other assignment. I'm going to hide assignment 1. All right, so we have to do that from the main course page. Good. So if I click here, edit and hide, it is hidden from the students. I go back into the grade book. All right, you can see it is hidden. How do you know it's hidden? Because here is grayed out. All right, so if I remove my mouse, you'll realize the 100 is grayed out. So that basically means that the student would not be able to see that particular assessment. If I click on edit settings, see it shows me it is hidden, so it's giving me the option to show. All right, so that is how we know that the students can't see it. Okay. Now, what we're going to be looking at, I'm going to be looking at switching to a dummy student. If it's an activity that you want to see the grade but does not count, you can create. If it's an activity that you want students to see the grades for, but it does not count towards the final grade, right? You can create. Excellent. You can create a category for ungraded. Very good, Dr. Telfo. Very good. And it's the same process of adding the category, giving it a name, and adding all those grade items to that particular category. Good suggestion. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to log in as a dummy student. We have a dummy student named exam 90. I'm going to log in, allow the dummy student to attempt. I'm going to unhide this, allow the dummy student to attempt the assignment and the forum. All right, and then we're going to see how that is represented in the gradebook, because we're going to go in and manually mark these assessments and see what it looks like in the gradebook. We're going to look at the grader history and how you can export the grades. Okay, so I'm going to open an incognito window. Going to log in as exam 90. All right, it's telling me that the password is incorrect. Let me just do a quick search for that password. All right. Okay, so I'm in. All right, so this is assignment 1. This is what the student is seeing. If I click to view my gradebook as the dummy student, it is just showing me the different assessments, the range of grade for each, and it's pretty much empty because as a student, I haven't attempted any of the activities, so there's no grade for me or feedback. All right, so I'm going to click on assignment 1, scroll down, click to add my submission. All right, and let us say my submission is this. Upload this file, click on save changes. All right, so what the system will give now is just a little summary to say time and date submitted, the status of the assignment, and if I want to edit, I can do that. If I want to remove, I can do that. All right, so I'm going to go back to the main course page. I just attempted the assignment as a student. I'm going to attempt the form as a student. All right, so this is my submission as a student. I'm going to scroll down and post to the forum. Okay, and that is what we have there from the student's perspective. Okay, now I'm back in as a lecturer. I'm going to refresh my screen and check the submissions made. So for assignment 1, if I click on that, it shows me that there's one participant in the classroom, that one participant submitted, and that participant's assignment needs grading. So I'm going to click on grade. Okay, and it shows me the name of that particular student. It's generating their assignment here. Okay, and in the right panel, this is where I am allowed to grade. So you can change this view if you want. Bottom right of your screen, we have an option for a different type of view. This is a half and half view, and this is a view with more of the assignment being shown. Okay, so we want to use the view that we have in the center here. Miss Noble, you can take the mic.
I was asking if you could quickly go back over that little part where you open to see the option.
Okay, sure. All right, so we clicked on the assignment, scrolled down, and I just clicked on grade. All right, however, if you have multiple submissions, I think it's best if you click on view all, because it basically shows you the table with all of your student submission, and then you get to click individually on the one that you want to grade. So So what I had done here was just to click on grade. But from this point, let's say you upgrade the student's assignment, you can always click on the drop down up top to change the user. We're only seeing one student because I intentionally only enrolled one student to this course. All right. So once we're here, that's good.
Yes, and if it was a group assignment where one person submitted the information, then you find each student individually and enter the grade manually for that submission.
Right, right. So you'll be able to enter the grade, right, for the submission.
Thank you.
Just a second. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So we have the individual student here. We have their submission here. If the student submitted a Word document, it would not be shown here. All right, so this view only supports PDF documents. So if it is a case where the student submitted a Word document, you would have to actually download the Word document. The system does not allow for the Word document view here, only PDFs and I believe image type files. Okay, if it's a Word document, you'd have to download it to your computer, review, and then you can make your comments and grade on the right column here. Right? So it says it's simple direct grading. Grade out of 100, I could put 80 here. All right. And if I wanted to leave my feedback comments, I could enter comments here. With this as well, if you prefer to do a voice comment, you can do so. You can insert links, pictures, anything at all that you think supports the feedback you want to give the student, you can enter it here. For a bigger space, you can actually zoom this out, zoom it in rather. All right, and then you can drag down if you need more space. Once you have done that, you enter the grade and the feedback, you would click on save changes. If you want the student to be notified that you have graded their assessment, you can click on the little ticky here. When you have notified your students, it sends an email to them. So they'll receive an email to say that their assignment was graded. If you just want to save and show next, you click on save and show next. Save changes basically means that the assignment is saved, but it doesn't jump to the next student. Save and show next saves the assignment grade and feedback, and it jumps to the next student. I think it's Miss March. I think Miss Noble take on the mic already. Miss March?
It's mistake, that's me. I have a problem with that setting that says notify students. All it does is leave a message in Moodle for the students. It doesn't actually send them an email.
It leaves a what?
A message in Moodle for the students. Even when you send the students a message in from Moodle, I go to Moodle and send all my students a message. It doesn't actually go to their email. It just leaves a message
Yes,
for
it
them
doesn't go
in
to their
Moodle.
email.
So that I was wondering if that's something you could look into.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I know that the issue was with the form. I didn't know that for the assignment. All right, let me just ask a quick
It is
question.
general. It is general. So even if I go send the students a message, it is it and I think it was going to their email. It doesn't go to their email, it just leaves it for them in Moodle.
I had no idea of that. Dr. Talco, could you thanks for that, Miss March. Dr. Talco wanted to say
No,
something?
I was just saying that it has been an overall issue with messaging in Moodle. So
Right.
the notify student just falls under the larger category of students not, and I think it has to, I don't know if it has to do with the fact that it's the personal email addresses that are on the system, not a university email. I don't know, but it has always been an issue, and for that reason when you post something to the forum, and it would be great for it to go to the students' email addresses, because that is one of the things that makes online classes work. You get these kind of prompts, and go in and do X or Y. That continues to be a challenge with UTech Online.
Yeah, man, I know that. I knew that for the forums, students were not getting that sent to their email addresses, but I didn't know the same for the assignment, because when I was studying with UA Open Campus, this is how I knew that my submissions were graded. I received the notification sent directly to my email for all activities. So I didn't know. Okay. So as you would know, this is not a feature that the Office of Distance Learning is able to modify for it to work. We have to send a request to LTSU. So this is something I will ask them to urgently action.
And Miss
All right,
Pets,
I'll send an email to them. Yes, Miss March?
just to add that if you go into the student setting, it is actually set up for them to be notified via email.
Via email, right? But they still
So if
don't
you
get
look at their setting itself, it says notify via email. So in Moodle, it is already set up for them to say, yes, I want emails, but they don't get
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm aware of that feature. That's why I thought there was not an issue, but clearly there is one. All right, so I will make the relevant communication. Hopefully, this is something that can be expedited. As said before, it just doesn't lie with us at the ODL. We have to take it higher because it's a technical issue. All right. Okay, so we just saved the assignment grade and feedback for exam 90. I'm going to do the same thing for the, let me just click on save again. I'm going to do the same thing for the forum. All right, so if I click on the forum, the option is there for me to grade users. Okay, and then here I'm able to enter a grade. I think with this particular option, I had selected point. So this is where we're getting, this is where I guess this is where we're seeing this type of display for us to enter the grades. So I could enter 80 here, click on yes to send notification to students. The thing with this is that I never see an option to save. That is the thing with this particular display. There's never an option to save. So I always wonder how the grade is saved here. Right? But I'm gonna just skip to next student between 0 and 60. Not sure I understand this error message here. Invalid grade was provided. The grades must be between 0 and 60. Let us look back at
The
the,
maximum grade that you had set was 60.
yeah, I think that is it. Let me just look back at it quickly. I think that might be the issue. Edit settings. Yeah, 60 points I think I had here. Um, for from, okay, good. Maximum grade. Okay. So let us put then that the student got 40 out of 60. All right. And I'm going to skip. Just gonna come back to check that it is saved. All right. So yes, it is saved. All right. So I am going to close. So it does not give me the option here to add a feedback, but in terms of text feedback, but if you do go into the gradebook, it will allow you to do so, which we'll look at shortly. All right. So what we just did, we entered the grades for the assignment and for the forum activities. All right. So I'm just gonna close this screen out, go back to the main course page, and we're going to go to the gradebook. So we click on grades. All right. And it is showing the grader report. So I am seeing the grade for the assignment, but I'm not seeing the grade for the forum for exam 90. All right, but we know the grade was saved because we saw it in the forum just now. Let us see what's happening. Let's just check to see what is happening. We'll also check shortly to see if the, okay, so the issue is that the student will not see the grade as yet, neither myself as a lecturer, because the student has 30 minutes to edit their forum response. All right, so I figure that is the issue. So after 30 minutes, once no modifications are made, the system would be able to show, because that is what the system does. The system gives 30 minutes for the student to poll or to edit their forum response. So me having graded the forum before that 30 minutes is up, I think that is what is preventing it from showing in the gradebook. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now, we are going to click on single view. Okay. So I'm just showing you how you can select to view the gradebook as a student. All right. So I'm going to select user, select exam 90, and it gives a single view for each student for the gradebook. All right, and you can leave the feedback in the box that is provided here. If you are seeing that it is disabled, you just click on override, and then this allows you to type your feedback. All right, of course you can manually enter the grade for all of the activities, because you can override even though the grade is here. You can click in the section here and you can enter the grade and the feedback manually. I'm not going to enter a grade here because I already set it up for the system to show that particular grade. When a grade is overridden though, the system tells you, because it highlights that grade. I think it's in orange. So the orange highlight indicates that the grade was overridden. All right. We're going to scroll down, click on save, and it said grades was set for 1 items, which is the feedback it's referring to. All right, and we can see that there. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go in as a student, go back in as a student, click on grades. Okay, and they can see the feedback I've left for the forum, not seeing the actual grade as yet. And they can also see the assignment, comments, and the grade that was left. All right, so this is the student's view. So they can get a report, user report, or an overview report. The overview report is not as detailed. It just shows the individual grade items and the final grade receipt. Well, it actually shows the course. The course is that the student, all the courses the student is enrolled in, and the final grade. All right, received thus far. Okay, now let's go back in as the teacher. We're doing a lot of switching. Let's go back in as a teacher. And I want to show you the grader history option. All right, so if we click on grader history here, it allows you to select the user that you want the history for. I'm going to select exam 90 since that is the only student. All right, and which grader. Okay, so the only grader is Michaela Peck as teacher, and you can select the date. All right, so let's say I want to see grade history from the 21st of July. Click on submit. Okay, so it will show the original grades given. It will show the revised grade. Okay, it will show if a grade was overridden or not. So here it says yes, the forum grade was overridden. It will show if that assessment is locked. It will show if this is excluded from the calculation. So remember that when you hide things, they're excluded. And it will also show the feedback comments. Okay, and of course, if you want to download this, this can be downloaded. We also have the option of importing grades. So I think there are systems that are compatible with Moodle. So let's say you have given your student a graded assessment using another system. There's a system called OWL and one called UpScan, and quite a other quite a few other systems that are compatible. It basically allows you to import. So I think you'd import it as an Excel using the CSV file format, and it would show nicely in the gradebook. All right. You can also export the gradebook. So you can choose the different items that you want to be exported, or the different assessments, or you can select all of them, and then you get to select the format rather options. All right, so do you want to get a real display type, percentage display type, or letter display type of the grade? And then you can click on download. Okay, so I think that basically covers all that I wanted to look at for the grade. Um, what I will do, as said before, and I guess it's something I could probably check out now since we have time. Dr. Telfo, regarding the weighing for the activities. So let's just quickly add another grade category and just check it out. Let us call this grade category collaborative wikis. All right, and then we are going to select simple weighted mean of grades here. All right, and then we're going to scroll down, click on save changes, and we're going to add 2 grade items to this book, to this category. All right, we want to call them wiki 1 and wiki 2. We're going to put the show more. Okay, all right, so we're going to put this in the collaborative wikis, change the item weight. So we're going to set this to, all right, so give me a little example, Dr. Telford. So let's say the wiki is worth, well, let's say the grade category is worth 30. How would you want to split the different weights for the grade items?
All right, so suppose I have 2 items that value, say one is 15 and one is 5, for argument's sake.
Okay, so this would be 15 in terms of the weight. All right, so we can change. What would you want the max points to be for this? This could be 40, right?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. We did not set a. All right, so we're going to set this to 30. Let me just save this. Okay. All right, we're going to add another grade item. Just call this wiki 2. Okay. All right, what would you want the weight to be for this one? 5, you said?
All right, the first was 15, yeah.
5. Okay, so you'd want the weight to be 20 then, right?
Right, 20, 20, 20.
Right. So let us change this to 10 just to facilitate the 100 overall, and change this to 20. So that's 20, 50, 90, 100. And then you see changes. Okay. Okay. All right. So the weight here would be 15 and 5. The maximum marks is 40 and 30. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go into the grade book and manually enter the grades, because I'm just trying to see how the system outputs that. So let us
Okay.
just check to ensure that this is actually, we're not even seeing the weight again here.
Oh, because it was created before.
No man, but even just a display, because how do we know that the weight is 15 or 5? You understand? It's
Right.
not showing, right?
Um,
I think. Mm,
let me explain a little bit about academic writing too, right? Which is why I was asking about the maximum grade for each of the categories,
mm-hmm,
because I wanted to find out if what we have been doing so far is wrong. Because the maximum grade for each category, I do not usually put to 100. So,
mm-hmm,
if, for example, the course has three categories, right? Assessment related to Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3, right? So, we have, say, the essay, which would be valued at 30, right? But
mm-hmm,
within that category, we have subcategories, right?
mm-hmm.
And so, what I would put as the category total would be the 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so so if if all the assessment items for unit 1 amounts to 40, for the category total I would put 40, so it would read
Right.
40 40 20, or 35 35 30, right, using the
Mm-hmm.
exact figures. And then within each of those categories, we have items that would be for, we have the test, different from activities, engagement activities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if the student if the students have to complete three activities that total 5% of that 35, I wanted to be sure that if I the total the category total, so the subcategory module engagement would be 5%, but you have three different activities under that 5 that would
Mm-hmm.
have different points. So if I grade one activity out of 20, one out of so 2 out of 20, 1 out of 10, I wanted to know, in calculating the 5%, if the activity that is 10, marked out of 10, would be given a lighter weighting in the grade book than the one graded out of 20. I don't know if I've confused you.
I think I kind of get where you're going, but my question to you though, so it's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit advanced, and that's okay. The question that I have for you, so when you have in the past, when you have set up the grade book, just to reflect what you just asked me, what has been the
Mm-hmm.
outcome in terms of the calculation? What has been the
All
outcome?
right. So I think one issue that I picked up on. So if it is that, say, one student did two of the three activities,
Mm-hmm.
I think the system still calculates those two
That
out of
we're
the
not done.
five. So right, so it would include the one that the student, if you get what I'm saying. So um the student would, when you look at what the student gets on the activity and what is actually in the grade book,
Mm-hmm.
uh you realize that the grades seem a little off. So I was wondering how to fix that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So what you can do, Dr. Telfo, so I can't see if the sorry, I can't see if the weighting is being applied here. But if this is an option that actually works, which I think it does, hopefully, but I've never explored it for myself before. Um, what I think you can do, I can allow you access to a course just to use probably some dummy students to check it out for yourself. And you know better
Okay.
because you know how to enter what you want. You know how to better represent in the system
Right.
that what you want. So I can allow you access with some dummy students, and then you can go in and enter the weighting for each grade item, allow the student to attempt whatever it is, and then just to check the grade book in its entirety to see how it works. Is that okay?
That's good. Thank you.
Hmm.
And
So
thanks,
I
Miss
will,
March, for the link.
yeah. So I'll make note of that for you. Um, So we have that set up. Yes, Miss March, please say the mic.
Mr. Can I show an example of my gradebook?
Oh yes, that would be wonderful. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing. Gonna upgrade your role to moderator. Um,
I
Michelle
mean,
March. All right, so you should be able to share now. You should be able to see that picture for sharing.
give me a minute. So,
So Dr. Tulsa, I'll send the course link to you by or before tomorrow. I'll send it via email. All right. In the meantime, while Miss March gets her screen up, we had a question in the chat about the recordings. So to locate all recordings, you would go to the intermediate training course. So once Miss March is done, I will go back to the online training module that houses the recordings for all the training sessions from thus far. All right, Miss March, you can take the floor.
right, so this is an example of one of my grade books. So when I come in, so I have test one is actually 2 sets of labs, and the overall grade is 15%. But I can come in and change these individual ones. As I said, I don't remember how I get here. Normally, when I'm setting up, if I forget, I go find information. But I can come in, for example, that this one is 10. I can is 15. So I can say this is 7%. I can say and then I can make this one say 5. And then this one 3%. So of the 15, when I am finished, whatever they upload for lab 1, it will be only 3% of the 15.
Right,
Whatever
right.
they upload for lab 2 will be 5% of the 15. And whatever they upload for lab 2 link 2 will be 7. So I can do that. But the total for lab 2 overall is 15. I also have this assignment. It was actually 2 tests, and the tests were valid at 10% each. So I have another course where it was 25, one was 10 and one was 15. So I can modify these individual grades. And so this is, so I can go in, as I said, I don't remember how I get here, but I can go in and make these little changes. It doesn't matter what the maximum grade in
Yeah.
this case, it is just for showing the students. So whatever, even if it was marked out of 30, for example, on the actual test, then when it comes here, the students will see it out of 100, which I think is easier for them to read.
Okay, I got you.
I think this is what Dr. Telfer wants.
Yeah, I think
I
so
don't know how
too.
to tell her to get here.
All right, I think I know what the issue is. I think, well, not issue, but I think I know. I think we had set up to show simple weighted mean of grades and not weighted mean of grades. I think with weighted mean of grades, um, so just click no, so not for the grade category, for the grade items. For the actual grade item, click to see if it is saying um, weighted mean of grades as opposed to simple.
Right, it says weighted.
I think that is it. All right, so I think that is it. I think that is it. Let me just okay.
Right, it says all of them are weighted.
That is it, man, for sure. I think that is it. So I'm just gonna change mine from my screen to say weighted as well and see what happens. Yes, that is
Okay.
it. That is it. So I just changed mine to weighted and it actually allows me the box to
Individual.
enter the
Okay, I'm
individual.
going to stop sharing.
Right. So let me just restart my sharing quickly. Um, share application. presentation and share. So you'll be able to see my screen in a couple of seconds. All right. So what I did, I just went back to the category, edit settings, please, and I changed this. I changed, sorry, this from simple to weighted. So when I changed it to weighted mean of grades, it gave me the option here. So I could enter 15 for one, 5 for the other, save, and that would be there. So it would be calculated in the gradebook just like this. So we are not seeing the option for the others in that way because of the aggregation type that was selected. So it doesn't allow, if you want to enter the weight for the individual grade items, then you have to change it to weighted mean of grades. All right, so thanks a lot for that, Miss March. Does that help, Dr. Telfor? Miss Givens, you definitely need to know to accomplish this, right? Does that help some? Anybody, Dr. Telfor?
Yes, Miss Beck, I'll go through and double check. I don't know, as I said, I don't know what how it would impact. So if a student doesn't do something, I'm wondering if I should put the Miss March is saying that the totals don't matter. It doesn't matter if the maximum grade is 100 or not. But I'll have to investigate the specific issue in AW2 a little bit more, because before I can say whether this is the fix. But thank you very much for that.
Yeah. All right. If we have, I believe this was a very productive session for me as well because I ended up learning something new. So thanks a lot to everyone. Before I go, regarding the recording, um, you would go to the intermediate training course. I had mentioned at the start of the session, if you're not enrolled to this course, you will know because it will not be shown on your dashboard when you log in. It's MIT 1001. The intermediate training sessions we have been doing, um, the recordings are being hosted here. So everything as it relates to the sessions that we have been doing from the Moodle basic training session that we had for the first week, that is contained in that online training module. For the intermediate training sessions, you will see the learning objectives for each unit based on the week that we would have done. You would have seen resources for you to access, videos to watch, PDFs to read concerning each activity done or explored in that week. So we are currently at unit 6, all right, really week 7 because we had the basic training, which is in that online training module. So we are here. The training session will be uploaded. The recording of the training session will be uploaded at the top of the unit. All right, so it will be shown here. You'll be able to see it this evening to tomorrow. As soon as the recording is made available, I will upload it. Okay, so thank you so much. No problem, Miss Noble. You can simply send me an email. I'll leave my email in the chat as well, and I'll just enroll you. All right, Dr. Telfa, take care. Miss March, do you have a question? You can take the mic.
So this respect has nothing to do with the gradebook. I would like to get some themes in Moodle so we can make the pages look more interesting. And I
You need
haven't
more
found
plugins.
anywhere that we can add themes.
When you say things, what you mean? Plugins to enhance
Themes.
the interface? Or
To,
themes?
yes.
Okay,
To
you
make
will
the
be
pages look pretty.
okay. So in terms of theme installation, the ODL has to send a request to LTSU, and I think typically for themes we don't get to pick, choose, and refuse. LTSU normally just installs a theme. You're not referring to theme specific to courses. You're referring to overall site theme, right?
No, so I want to be able to change it for each individual course.
course. Okay, so these are course
Right.
themes.
So I want the
Oh,
themes made available and we are given permission to make changes if we like.
right. I understand the request. I can try for you. You can send an email to me, and I will send the request. I'll forward the request to LTS. So I know what is typically facilitated. Is a request for probably plugins for enhancing functionality of the course. For example, for activities and resources. In terms of plugins for aesthetics, I'm not sure what they're what they might say as it relates to that. But send it in an email to me,
Okay.
and I will write. I'm considering as well just doing a session at the end of the summer semester training session schedule. I'm thinking of doing a session that will look at how we can enhance the aesthetic appearance of the course, because there are certain things that we can do with the integration of HTML codes just to boost the overall appearance of the course. All right, so
Okay.
that is something that I want to do. I don't know that it will replace the course theme, but it's something that will beautify, how the course is displayed, visually displayed.
The other thing also, I was wondering if you could explore. So every semester we roll over the modules and we roll over the modules with everything that was there in this semester. So when I get it, I will get all the assignments and stuff that were there from this semester. So I was
Right,
wondering if you could explore creating some standard modules for some standard courses for every module. So we have some basic modules, and when you're rolling over, those are what you roll over. Or if somebody wants my semester two to be rolled over, they make that special request. Or when you're rolling over, so I create, for example, the module that I show you, I set it
mm-hmm.
up, I set up the assessments and stuff that I want in it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're rolling over, that is what you roll over instead of what I used this semester.
Okay, I think I understand you. All right, so with that,
So I don't get this messy module that I have to clean up in order
yeah,
to start over.
yeah, that's a fair request. I'm leaving an email address. You could actually email him about that. Mr. Andre Lawrence is a person that is responsible for reset, and resetting is a process of making the module ready, removing the students from the previous semester and making it ready for the next offering for the next semester. So that is something that you could write to Mr. Lawrence about, and he would respond and let you know um, about that request. All right, so you could write to Mr. Lawrence concerning that. All right. So thanks to everyone in this session for attending. And you're welcome from the chat. Um, I will upload the recording for today's session as stated earlier, and I will see you again next week. Before we go, Miss March.
I just want to say, Michaela, that I like these targeted sessions
Yes.
that shows us to do something that we can immediately take back to our course and apply. So I appreciate these sessions.
Yes. And thanks for being here as well. All right. We currently don't let me just ask that question. Miss Noble, we currently don't use the Safe Exam browser. We were using it, I think it was 2019 thereabout. But there were some issues and we had stopped using it. I'm not sure what the university's direction is as it relates to using that again. I know that they are considering other tools and other proctoring tools as well to facilitate safe exams online. Right. So I guess we will hear soon what the direction the university is taking as it relates to that. And especially because the new blended approach is being standardized moving forward, um, that will probably expedite this whole process of proctoring. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So thanks again, everyone, and take care. Bye bye. Yeah, man, I'm happy to see you and that you're okay and such.
No man, when someone come in and say, boy,
I mean, we're not clean the place, but definitely.
it's light. Yeah, man. Smell what me? Yeah,
So for
man.
this, you're not gonna use it, you just take it to my phone. Just for the space, and here's some of the but you can
So, we're gonna use that to go, we're gonna use one of them to go thing there.
party.
No, we're gonna use this to go, the small one to go.
Something?
Yeah,
So you're going to be one.
next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but after next week, no, we can put it.
Good one.
Thank you for the jacket. How much in class charges?
And just then just I brought it in this and the bag and everything, they'll give you back to the old bag and the beer down. So it's a complete tour. You know, you're gonna leave it to me, so you'll give it back to
Oh.
yeah, but what you saying there, I got it back. I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm. 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 Oh. Yeah, so have to. You're a dead man. Whoa. Music, me rola, bathroom, man.
Understand? So you say, wow, this movie?
Oh, so you have to tell me what you're wearing so I can watch when you have to what you're wearing. You know, say you want the king shirt.
Yeah, me that go wear one. And when you come back, me have it. It's a this. That's what I'm sure.
Oh, oh, but you need a shoe to go with it. Alright.
Yeah. So, but you say you don't want to wear the one here. You say you want to wear the white one. It don't matter if both of them match with it still. Just look for the white thing. So your shirt are black. Yeah.
Yeah, but you wear black one. You got the shoes.
You have black pants.
Black pants.
Yeah, no, black
Oh,
pants.
that one that you want to wear?
No, me don't wear the white
White
one.
one.
Even though this really match with it still, but it's too much. Doing too much. I'm gonna wear the white and this is gray and black.
Cool.
So your bottom not to match my own still. You know what? Yeah, babe. So when you come back, remember I won't be here. You heard? Yeah, man. I'm not gonna do some. So we can read like you want to that's good. Alright. This is the right fit. Okay, next we can do. Yeah, yeah, babe. That's under the shirt. From which one? Looks so big. It's not giving blows, it's giving. Oh,